What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and it's time for an important update on the unending harassment of Vic Mignogna. This is one of those times where I'm not only going to ask you to like the video, but I'm going to ask you that if you're on Twitter to retweet it, if you're on Facebook to post it, if you use Reddit to put it there, wherever you need to help spread the word about the unending harassment of Vic Mignogna, I'm going to ask that we mobilize for this video. If you're unfamiliar with the situation, essentially Vic was #MeToo'd by other people in his industry. We now know that the overwhelming majority of #MeToo targets are innocent. Johnny Depp, Chris Hardwick, the latest high-profile males to be targeted by this campaign for attention, for self-importance, in my opinion, were both found absolutely guilty. In Johnny Depp's case, he was in fact the victim, okay? Remember to like the video for truth and justice. And countering the narrative, I've seen reports that Vic Mignogna's GoFundMe has been shadow banned on GoFundMe. When I search for it directly, it still comes up. It's no longer appearing as trending or a top GoFundMe. I'm assuming this is manually curated. Many in the community, many of his accusers have continued their harassment campaigns against him. I'm going to give you a brief update and remind you that I do too stand with Vic, #StandWithVic, because we've seen no real evidence. We've seen no laws broken. We've seen no silver bullet here. Here's what I think, and I've said this in previous videos. Vic is essentially a superstar at conventions. He's an attractive man. People are jealous of that. The amount of toxicity and fervor from his coworkers trying to ruin his life leads me to believe, to speculate. I look at Monica Rial and I wonder, why is she so stuck on this? You made your point a month ago. You're still harassing conventions. Why are you harassing lawyers who are covering it? We're going to get into that too. You know the saying, methinks thou doth protest too much? You know how, in my opinion, how Monica is acting? Like somebody who maybe put their heart out there for Vic and was rejected. That's how, in my opinion, she is acting. I don't know that this happened. I can't prove that this happened. But there's obviously a deep level of hatred there that cannot simply be explained by a thirst for truth. Cannot simply be explained by a righteous motivation. A lot of these females that are going after Vic seem to be fueled by more than just what is good or right. They seem to have a deep-rooted hatred for Vic. A man who is now raised, and I have not promoted this before, but I will let you know now that I know Vic is proceeding with this lawsuit, $107,000 in legal defense. And let me tell you, it's expensive. As somebody going through their own lawsuit, I've burned through 15 grand relatively quick. So it's expensive. You're talking about a guy that has to take on Funimation, has to take on multiple defendants like Monica Rial and her soy-filled fiance, allegedly. And shout out to guys like Yellow Flash and that Umbrella guy who continue to cover this. Shout out to guys like Nick Rekieta, who is being unendingly harassed by these people, receiving several unfounded ethics complaints simply for being a lawyer and covering a legal suit online. I have it on good authority that people close to, and you're going to have to wait to see the video later. I'm not taking any thunder. By the way, you should check out his channel. He covers a lot of different lawsuits and comics community drama in a uniquely Midwestern way. So maybe that's why I am so fond of his coverage. They are filing ethic complaints against Nick Rekieta simply for covering the absurdity of this situation. Bad actors on the Kick Vic side are taking the time to complain to the bar that he is making fun of them. That is how insane these people are, in my opinion. Now, let me give you a brief update of what's going on with these people who are acting psychotic. 3 to 4 weeks ago, Kamea-kan, I hope I'm saying that right. There's a timeline. I may mess a few things up, but here's how I understand it. 3 to 4 weeks ago, they disinvited Vic. This is allegedly, by the words of Ron Toy, Monica Rial, who Ron is Monica's fiance, Chris Sabat, who is a big voice actor in the Dragon Ball community, Shane Holmberg. Con owner was bullied into almost canceling conventions. A lawyer referred to it as obvious tortoise interference. Clear bullying into breach of contract. The owner of Kamea-kan changed his mind 5 days ago. Reinvites Vic Mignogna. 4 days ago, the owner of Kamea-kan, under major pressure, allegedly, from Rial and Sabat, interfering again, saying, Vic comes, we don't go. Owner waffling, flips on Vic, decision won't bring him. Thank you, Courtney, for taking notes on this for me. For 3 hours, Sabat and Rial allegedly threatened Kamea-kan owner's phone with texts and phone calls saying, if Vic comes, we don't go. No announcement. The latest update, I'm told, is the Kamea-kan owner doesn't even want to do conventions anymore. Now, I can understand where somebody who runs a convention feels like just being done with it all. Walking away after unending harassment from people like Renfamous. Kamea-kan, you're being sworn right now because of a drunk YouTuber from Minnesota is screaming conspiracy theories at a bunch of teenagers trying to rile them up against you. Ignore their attempts to intimidate you. Your real fans and real audience here in Texas support you. This is an oft-used SJW tactic. I'm not going to buy your product anymore, even though I was never going to buy it in the first place. Look at the locations of the people attacking you now. None of them are from here. So the fact that you're from the same state means, you know, Renfamous is trying to do the exact same thing. All right? And let's just take a look of what's going on. You won't invite Vic, but you invite these people. I'm no longer going to any cons with Funimation employees. Here's one. Yes, I want his head, referring to Vic. I want his balls. I want him to feel an ounce of the pain he's causing others. And then effing choke on it. I want you to take his junk. Vic Mignogna parody from Sony and Sean. Here's Monica. And by the way, I'm monogamous, so I'm a total slut for Ron. We have I mean, like, what? I don't even know why you're talking like this. It's interesting. But back to the timeline. As I bring it up, hopefully. So we see multiple flip-flops of the con. The con getting harassed from SJWs. What I also know, and have been able to confirm, that unending emails have been sent to these conventions. Any Pro-Vic convention, including Pensacon, which happened a little while back, 3 weeks ago. A Pro-Vic convention. Let me tell you a little something that happened at Pensacon. There was a room where people could play games. Play different, like Wii and all this kind of stuff. And somebody broke in there. After the convention came out as Pro-Vic, somebody broke in there and smashed all the TVs. Now, I don't have any proof of this, but one could connect the unending threats that these conventions are getting for being Pro-Vic and this activity. There are other cons that had Vic, like the Pennsylvania Comic-Con, which hosted Vic. They had to go out of their way and email other con owners to say everything was fine. Because here's the thing. The Twitterverse, the outrage mob, knows that they can overwhelm somebody pretty easily. If you're used to getting 1 or 2 emails a day as a business and all of a sudden you get 100, you feel like, holy crap, everybody thinks this. And they'll all put the same copy pasta and everything and talk about how they were going to go to your convention and now they're not going to. But when we all know, those of us that have been around know that they weren't going to go in the first place. And we all know we can make fun of things like Captain Marvel online, but the overwhelming majority of people are not reading Twitter, are not watching YouTube videos about this stuff. We know that outrage mobs are, by and large, ineffective. They are liars. And we are seeing convention owners now who are pro-Vic coming out and saying, nah, we didn't have any problems with Vic here. But then we have guys like Chris Sabat, who is the voice actor of Vegeta, runs a voice studio that they do all the DBZ recordings in, I believe. Allegedly now, this is from sources, publicly he's been very quiet, but behind the scenes he's been all over this Kick Vic thing. Basically everyone that's ever worked with Vic doesn't like him now, and they haven't for a long time. And this is what's going on behind the scenes from other people. All of this over what appears to be some personal dislikes. As it stands right now, any convention that comes out and will host Vic is getting brigaded and threatened. YouTube lawyer Nick Rekieta, fellow Midwestian, as far as I know, has had several unfounded ethics complaints filed by these psychopaths. Of course, the bar deciding in his favor every single time because he's doing nothing wrong. He's allowed to cover public domain. He's allowed to be mean. And Funimation remains quiet. Meanwhile, 4 or 5 people under their wings. Don't forget companies like Rooster Teeth that cut ties with him too, over basically accusations. Now we know there was an email from convention owner to other con owners who hosted Vic a weekend or 2 ago. Their name was obscured. Owner of Central PA Comic-Con, RockCon, said the rave reviews of Vic at Rochester RockCon. March 9th and 10th, Central PA Comic-Con. There were emails of concern brought to them about Vic. The owner decided to bring Vic anyway, and there were 0 issues at that convention. Of course. Of course. And the blue-haired crazy people on Twitter are desperate because they are losing power. Now, if it comes out that Vic had done something heinous, all right. But at this point, Vic now, this is why people are freaking out. He has a huge legal fund, and he's striking back. He posted a while ago, words of gratitude cannot express the depth. I'm sorry, words cannot express the depth of my gratitude for all the kindness. A friend expressed desire to set up GoFundMe for legal expenses. I approved his kind offer, and so I'm grateful. But I'm not managing it, nor will I personally receive any of it. Any surplus will go to the Salvation Army, Dallas Domestic Violence and Abuse Shelters. I hold no malice towards anyone. I just love my work and the fans, and sincerely wish to continue. And your fans love you too, Vic. And even people on the outside. I'm not an anime guy. I know many of the people that watch my videos are. It's not that I dislike it. I just never got into it. But what I am a fan of is people getting a fair shake. And the fact that this man is facing unending, relentless assaults from crazy people online, I'm standing in his defense. And look, any convention, until such a point when really negative thing comes out about Vic that is proved, listen, I have almost 500,000 subscribers. About 100,000 people watch every one of my videos. any convention that hosts Vic, I'll promote you. Happy to do it. Happy to promote about your convention on Twitter. Happy to retweet your stuff. Just tag me in there. I'll sell more tickets for you than these crazy blue hairs ever allegedly unpurchased from you. I guarantee you that fact. So convention owners, runners, stand tall. Be strong. SJWs don't have any money anyway. They weren't coming to your convention in the first place. And I'll put my money where my mouth is and promote your convention if you're hosting them. Hope you enjoyed this video. I stand with you, Vic. Stay strong. Get your retribution. We'll talk to you again real soon.